Money, power, arrogance, skill, all these words and many more perfectly define the man known as Floyd "Money" Mayweather. One of the greatest boxers in history, and arguably one of the best of all time, depending on how you want to measure his wins and opponents. But aside from his victories, Mayweather is known definitively for his money-making abilities, which has earned him a net worth of about $1 billion. And that wasn't easy, not even he'll say that. He had to work hard at it, but how hard? We'll break it down for you. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 7. Amateur Prodigy. How did the great ones start? That's a question that many have tried to answer over the years with various replies. It honestly depends on the sport, the person, and the situation. As for Floyd Mayweather, his start was in amateur boxing. His father was a former boxer himself and thus helped teach Floyd from a young age. And his time as a young boxer allowed him to see how to refine his skills and earn the set of techniques that would make him a legend. To be clear though, he didn't just go in and have a few boxing matches and then decided, yeah, I'll go pro. No, he did things the hard way and went and did 90 matches. Of course, he won 82 of them, which proves just how good he was even back then. Not perfect, obviously, but darn good. This kind of a start to his boxing career was important in a whole host of ways. It showed he was serious about this sport, and through those many fights, he learned to master defensive boxing, which in many ways is his trademark and allowed him to win many fights as a pro. Speaking of which, number 6, how to be a pro.
We're for my grandchildren, not just my children. Yeah. You know, put them in a position. That's really what it's about. Yeah. Giving back.
Regardless of the sport, there's a change in difficulty when you go from one tier of sport to another. College to pros or amateur to pro in boxing, it doesn't matter. You have to step up or get the heck out. But for Floyd Mayweather, it didn't really seem to matter to him, because he went 18-0 in his first 2 years and won his first world title in quick time. It was as if everyone was moving slower than him, and he took advantage of every opportunity presented to him. If you want proof of this, just look at his first title bout. His foe's corner actually threw in the towel because he was being so strong and dominant. That's not something that happens in modern boxing a lot if you think about it. He was so good at defensive boxing that his first nickname wasn't Money, it was Pretty Boy, because he wouldn't let foes touch him enough to hurt his face, which you can bet Floyd was grateful for, as he is one to talk about his looks a lot. 18-0 was the perfect start to his career, and that helped him in various ways, including getting a lot of money in his pocket. Was it enough for Floyd? Not even close. Number 5, his contract. Contracts play a big role in sports, and they determine not just your roles, but how much you make for your job. For the first 37 fights of Money Mayweather's career, he was assigned to Top Rank, which was one of the biggest fight promoters in the world, which was a good win for Floyd. By 2007, he was making $5 million for each fight that he did, which means that by the time he was 37-0, his record before leaving them, he would have had $185 million, give or take, from his fight winnings. Think about having all that money and being one of the most dominant boxers in the world. Most wouldn't want to risk losing that for one reason or another. But Floyd has never been a man to settle, and so he felt as if he was going to make some true money, he'd have to do it alone. Number 4, his own brand.
How do you even get this much money? What do you do?
Work hard.
I know that, but like...
Floyd understood that if he wanted to make the true top dollar for his fights, that he'd have to go and invest in himself. But as noted, he already had a contract, and he couldn't just break it without serious repercussions. So he looked over the entire contract and realized that it had an opt-out clause that would allow him to leave for a payout of $750,000. So he paid it out and created Mayweather Promotions. This led him to the most important moment of his career at this point. Number 3, Money Mayweather.
This fight with?
350 million.
$350 million.
Yes.
After making his own promotional brand, he knew he had to go even bigger. That's when his infamous Money nickname was born. And with that came a new personality. He went and decided to be the loudest and most obnoxious boxer he could be. And that worked in his favor because people wanted to see him fight, and some paid money just to see if he would lose. He was seeing immediate dividends. His first match on his own was worth $8 million. And then when he did the super fight against Oscar De La Hoya, which many consider the fight that Floyd almost lost because he only won by a split decision, he pocketed $25 million via that bout. Since that point, any boxing match he was in couldn't get him to fight for anything less than $25 million, which showed that not only was his brand working, people were willing to meet his demands in regards to his payouts. Number 2, how to bring the hype.
They punch hard and hit hard, and you got guys that come out and win a few rounds, but nothing really was tough.
Hype isn't just a thing in sports and in life, it's a way to bring people to the table. That's exactly what Mayweather wanted to do. He wanted to bring as many people to the table as possible, including big-name boxers to fight him. He wouldn't just hype himself up, he would tempt them with the big payouts to fight him, win or lose. And they took it, and the matches that followed made both sides rich and Floyd even more famous. That's why he's a 50-0 and now worth about $1 billion. He knew how to play the game and get paid by it. Number 1, WWE and MMA.
God only made one thing perfect, and that's my boxing record.
As if his boxing career wasn't enough, Floyd made sure he was a brand outside of the pure sport of boxing and mixed it up with 2 other fighters of different sports. After his first retirement, he went and made a deal with WWE, the leading wrestling promotion in the world, for a match at their biggest event, WrestleMania. He would fight the Big Show, and his mere presence brought worldwide coverage of the event, making it one of the biggest WrestleMania ever. Floyd won and got $20 million out of the deal, because of course he did. As if that wasn't good enough, there was his fight against MMA legend Conor McGregor in Boxer vs. MMA Dream Match that had everyone blasted before the match and were pumped after it when McGregor came to play and honestly took Floyd to his limit. His payout for his final fight of his career was massive, and the hilarious part is that a rematch could land him even more. There you go, a look at the career of Floyd Money Mayweather and how he went from prodigy to billion-dollar boxer. Are you surprised by his methods of getting this rich, or do you approve of them? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.